Kalkadosh Boker Or, Bekiim Bahalacha 3, day 95. We are on Siman 23. This is talking about tzitzit in Bet HaKvarot. Now, Halacha Aleph. אסור להיכנס לבית הקברות כשהוא לבוש טלית גדול של מצווה כשציון מגולות. You're not allowed to go into the Bet HaKvarot, right, when you are going to be לבוש טלית גדול, right? When you have the ציציון מגולות. אפילו שאין הציציון נגררות על הקברות. וטעם האיסור, right, the reason of the איסור, משום שהוא נראה כמחרף את המתים ולועג להם. Again, you're laughing, לועג לרש. right? שאינם יכולים לקיים את המצווה, ונאמר ממשלי, לועג לרש, חרף עושהו, שמח לעד, לא ינקב. 280. The Talmud, right, comes and it teaches. It is forbidden to walk about in the cemetery while wearing tefillin on one's head, or holding a sefer Torah on one's right, holding it. Anyone who does so he's mocking the poor, and he disparages their maker. Again, that's a pasuk. One time, Rabbi and Rabbi Yochanan were walking in the cemetery, and Rabbi Yochanan Tzitzi were hanging out. Rabbi said to him, what? Hold them up, so that they will not say, soon they will be joining us, but they will not be belittling us. The Talmud continues with the discussion dealing with the question of whether or not dead people are able to do, right, are aware of what goes on in this world or not. So, or not. Then and now, the disciples of Rabbi are deduced from this passage, right, that this prohibition is limited to dragging one's tzitzit on the graves. But as long as the wearer lifts them above, right, the graves, he may go about in the cemetery with, right, its tzitzit showing. Although the Gemara states clearly that it's forbidden to wear tefillin in the cemetery, this is because anyone can remove his tefillin before entering the cemetery, right? People cannot just, start taking off their clothing with the tzitzit, obviously. In the era of the Talmud, the people wear the tzitzit on everyday garments, and nowadays people have it like underneath or whatever, and therefore it's completely different. The Shulchan Aruch ruled that it's permissible to enter a cemetery wearing tzitzit as long as they are not dragged on the graves. He then specified that this rule is in the era of the Talmud when people attach tzitzit to everyday garments. Nowadays, however, it's forbidden to have the tzitzit dragging on. Based on these, right, those who follow, right, he says those who follow the custom of Sephardic Jews to keep the tzitzit of talit katan hidden underneath their clothes are not restricted at all when visiting a cemetery. Those who have the practice of displaying the tzitzit tassels over their pants must make sure to tuck them inside their pants when visiting a cemetery. Halacha bet. Yeah. Yesterday. So therefore, what happens is like this. Halacha bet. Mutar likanes bet hakvarot betalit katan she'anu lovshim tacha begadim. You're allowed to go into a bet hakvarot with a talit katan that they put underneath the clothing, and even the tzitziot are going to be covered. Kafi minhagenu, like our minhag. However, the people that have the minhag of taking the tzitziot michutz michnasayim asurim likanes bet hakvarot mishum lo larash. Lachen tzrichim lachnis tzitziot kodem sheyikansu lebet hakvarot. So they have to hide him before they go into the bet hakvarot. Yes, or anybody who has the tzitziot outside. Okay, Maran discussed the issue of visiting a cemetery while wearing a talit katan, right? And he concluded that as long as the tziyot are hidden from view, so then it's no problem. The Talmud suggests that according to this, it's going to be forbidden wearing the tefillin on one's head, but it does not forbid wearing the tefillin on one's arms. It seems from this that as long as the mitzvah item is not viewed, right, it's permitted. Maran brings down the Rashba, making the same distinction, although the Hagahot B'Miniyot rule that one must have remove the talit katan right before entering the cemetery, and he did not suffice, right, with hiding the tzitziot. Maran decided that when we practice leniency with confidence, this is the basis ruling of the Shulchan Aruch. Halacha Gimel. Halacha Gimel. Isur הכניסה לבית הקברות בציציון מגולות אם הוא במקום שיש סביבו קברים אסור, אפילו שהוא רחוק מדלת אמות מן הקברים. And even if you're going to be distanced for a mot, it's still going to be asur for you to go into the cemetery with your tzitziot out. But what if you're in the entrance or in the areas where there's no kvarim? But they're supposed to be kvarim later on. So you don't have to be machmir min adin. And as long as you're going to be away, daled amot, that's going to be fine. Right, shema yitkarev, right, לדלת אמות, meaning that you're not going to pay attention and then you're going to go there. If you're outside, meaning if you're outside of the gader, even if there's going to be a kever mamash right there beside within daled amot, but you're outside of the parameter, meaning that it's going to be okay. Okay, 282. The Mishnah Berurah comes and he explains that there are three schools of thought among the Achronim to do with this halacha. The Bach comes and he says forbidden to walk within daled amot of graves while the seats view. As long as one remains outside of daled amot, it's permitted, no problem whatsoever. The Taz, he concluded that according to the Tur, it's commendable to avoid displaying one's tziyot anywhere within the confines of a cemetery, even if there's no graves within daled amot. And the Magen Avraham comes and he says No, that according to the Gaon Mivina and everything, ruled that it's forbidden to display one's seat with right anywhere within the confines of the cemetery, even if there's no graves. Right? So he says the B'yula Lachan, the Pri Megadim challenged the Magen Avraham stringent ruling. He says since both the Olot Tamid and the Bach rule that it's permissible as long as there's no graves within Daled Amot, then Shalom rejected the Magen Avraham's ruling over the overly stringent. And he says that according to that, you don't have to do that. So based on the Nishom, the Mishabra ruled that one should be stringent in an area of the cemetery surrounded by graves, but not necessary to be stringent while in the section designated to the graves that are not yet occupied. Meaning they made like a pshara. Even though right here there's going to be graves, but it's not right now there's nobody occupying it. Right? So therefore you don't have to be stringent. Nevertheless, the Mishabra recommended being stringent in this case as well. Right? Why? Because then you're going to wander. You're going to just come and... Yeah, that's for sure. As long as one is outside of the cemetery's confines, there's not going to be a problem whatsoever.